Alright, I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. So, this is me versus Duncan. Duncan's on his 3-game winning streak. I have just came back on the winning side with a win against Steve, aka BattlerX, aka the Milwaukee Saucebucks. So, I'm going by his team. We've Big Threat, Knockoff. The only thing I'm worried about is Z-Move and Bandit. If it's Life Orb, I don't really care because it doesn't have the same damage output if it is Life Orb. Because if it is Life Orb, then my team is going to be able to weaken it very, very effectively. Because every time he hits me, he's going to take 10%, and he's not really going to click any move other than knockoff, so that's the reason why I'm not really too scared of it, because pretty much everything on my team can take a Life Orb hit from Weavile and retaliate back. Alola Marowak, on paper, it seems to really threaten my team, but as you saw it last time from the game that we played against him, it didn't really do too much. It clicked Flare Blitz in the sun against my Kyurem, and it didn't really do too much damage, I think. I'm not 100% sure, maybe he clicked Shadow Bone or Earthquake, but whatever. No, I actually clicked Earthquake, but it's fine, like, because my team threatens it so badly. It's weak to a lot of things. It's weak to Dark, Ghost, Water, and Ground, and I have a lot of those types on my team, so he has to play carefully around it, and I don't think that he's going to be able to afford to do that. He doesn't really have a lot of opportunities to bring in a little Marowak. Like, I do have Thunders, which it does have the Lightning Rod for, but if I just click Knockoff, it's going to do a lot of damage. After Rocks, my Knockoff can potentially kill him, depending on the spread that I have, so he definitely has to worry about that. And I did bring like 180 attack last time because he also had a Celebi, but obviously because he doesn't have a Celebi anymore, I don't need the U-turn damage, and so I don't really need that U-turn anymore. But hopefully he remembers that I had U-turn last time, even though it was just for the Celebi. So if I do have a Zoroark as well, so he might think that the Zoroark has the U-turn, or the Thundurus has the U-turn, so a little bit of mind games there. Linear side, pretty big threat. You could go Scarf or you could go Yachi. I think those are the only two sets he would use. He could be Rock Polish Pasho, but I don't think he's going to do that. Because Aqua Jet still does a ton. Steven Russian probably still kills through Pasho if he wants to set up on my Volcanion. And I don't even know, like, if he's Rock Polish, it's obvious. I think that he would go Special Rock Polish because if he goes Physical, then I have the Gyro Ball in my Fortress to really punish it. So basically, Yachi or Scarf is the play that he would go there. Keldeo, pretty big threat. Last time he almost came back with it, but there was no way that he could actually come back to it because I had such a big lead against him. But if he played a little bit more aggressively last time, he could have maybe won with it. So maybe I think that he will bring it again, and I think he'll use it a lot more aggressively. But last time I didn't really have a good answer to Keldeo. My answer to Keldeo was Azumarill, and I didn't really want to use that. But this time I am bringing my Decidueye, and that should be able to handle the Keldeo really, really well. Flygon, I think this is, I think it's likely that he's going to bring this because it's a very, very good defogger. And if it's not running defog, it's a good pivot with U-turn, and U-turn pivot into Weavile is just really, really solid. It's a much better defog user than Mandibuzz because Mandibuzz is really, really bad. Every time he brings in Mandibuzz, I bring in Volk, Thundurus, Azu, or Kyurem, and he just can't really do anything about it. He doesn't really have good switches to those Pokemon in the first place, and him bringing Mandibuzz just makes it even worse. It's just really, really bad for him. So I don't think Mandibuzz is coming. Flygon, definitely a possibility. I don't really have good ground resist, and my ground resist can easily get pivot U-turn on, so that's fine. Metagross, I believe he can bring the Metagross. Has access to Pursuit. The Metagross sets that I think he's going to bring are... I think Stealth Rock is likely because it's his best Stealth Rock user outside of Torkoal. Landorus, I don't believe, has the luxury of running Stealth Rock, and the Marowak, I don't think it's a very good Stealth Rock user either. Just because of how much pressure the Marowak gets. But the Metagross has very, very good bulk. It does have a lot of weaknesses like the Marowak, but because it has the 70 speed, it can potentially outspeed my Volcanion. It's a speed tie with it, but he doesn't know how much speed I'm going to run. I don't know how much speed he's going to run, so it's going to be a battle of wits in that aspect. I don't know. I'm not going to run that much speed on my Volcanion this week. Last time I did run Scarfed, so I think he definitely has to play around that. I feel very, very confident going into this game just because of how I played last time, of the sets that I used last time. Like, I used Scarf Volcanion. I'm not going to use Scarf Volcanion again, but he has to play around Scarf Volcanion. I use U-turn on my Landers, on my Thundurus, and he has to keep that in the back of his head. Like, he has U-turn, so I can't really bring in my Marowak against it because I could easily just go U-turn into Volcanion and he just loses another Pokemon because his Fire and Water resist are non-existent. So Metagross, I believe it could be Stealth Rock. It could be Shuka Berry to take on Earth powers. Not really Earth powers, but Earthquake. Last time I did bring Earthquake on my Fortress. There's also Aqua Berry. I think Flamethrower still kills through Aqua, so I don't know. Assault Vest is a huge, huge, huge possibility because of the fact that it can take on my Kyurem really, really well. running a physical Kyurem is not that wise because I can't really hit the Lando that well. So running a physical Kyurem, I need Ice Beam to hit that. I need Ice Beam to hit the Venusaur. So special Kyurem is the way to go. And when you run a Soft Vest Pokemon, you need to run they either need to have natural recovery and regen. So Tangrowth, Slowbro, Slowking, Torn are really solid Assault Vest users, or they need to have good special attack or attack. And Metagross has good attack and it has good coverage. You need good coverage or decent recovery, and Metagross has the good coverage aspect. Gets the Elemental Punches, Bolt Beam Punches, Meteor Mash, Earthquake, can run HP Fire as well. For the Fortress, so Metagross I believe is definitely coming. Granbull is another Pokemon that could definitely come because it's similar to Metagross in the aspect that it has great coverage. It can easily go with Assault Vest because it also has Intimidate to boost its defenses. Pseudo boost its defenses because obviously if I switch into Granbull it doesn't have the defense boost, but if it switches in it does. It also has great coverage, 120 attack, Play Rough, Thunder Punch, Ice Punch. I don't know if it gets Fire Punch, but it does get fire coverage. I know it gets Fire Fang. Earthquake just hits a lot of my team super effective. And then there's the Araquanid. The Araquanid is a very interesting Pokemon because my Volcanion and Azu still beat it, but he could try to beat them one-on-one with something like Infestation, Toxic Rest, Chesto Berry Rest. So I gotta be watching out for that. But the thing is, if he goes physical, Azu still 2-hit kills it if it's banded, if my Azu is banded. And if he goes specially defensive, then I am considering running a Restock Kyurem, not a Kyurem, a Restock Volcanion. So if he's like Infestation Toxic, it really can't do anything to me anyway. So I'm fine in that aspect. So Araquanid I'm not really too worried about. Stealth Rock definitely chips away at it. So I'm not really too worried. Now, the last two Pokemon, Torkoal and Venusaur, I'm really surprised that his last two picks are the picks that I'm most worried about. I definitely think you should bring them because last time he brought Torkoal without the Venusaur. I was prepared for it, obviously, with the Rain Dance Thunders. But he didn't bring the Venusaur, but he brought the Marowak. So I definitely think he's not going to bring the Marowak this time, knowing how difficult it is to actually hit me with that Pokemon. And I think he's going to bring Venusaur because Venusaur is... it has good coverage for my team, Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain, and HP Fire. Alright, I really need to go into the team because I've been talking a lot. Stealth Rock, Fortress... Okay, so let me talk about the Torkoal a little bit more. So Torkoal is really good against my team because my Stealth Rock users... Fortress, and he can round spin on the Fortress first of all, and he can also set up Stealth Rock against my Fortress, so I can't even spin. And my Defogger is Decidueye, and I can't defog on it either because Lava Plume does too much damage. And he can easily just defog and do whatever against me, so I have to use Fortress and my Decidueye outside of the Torkoal. I obviously can't do it against them, so I have to do it against like a Landorus or a Keldeo or a Weavile. I have to spin on them, and if he brings them a little Marowak, whatever. I don't know if you will because last time I did bring a fast Fortress and I was able to 2-hit KO with Earthquake. So yeah, the Torkoal is really annoying because as soon as I set up Stealth Rock, I don't have a spin blocker, so he can Route Spin, and he could easily exchange rocks with me and have no problem with it because his team's not really too worried about rocks. Well, meanwhile mine is, and I also don't have Azu this time, and Azu is the thing that excels with rocks up, and I also have a Sash Zork that I need to keep intact to really put a lot of pressure on his team. So, Volt Switch, Rain Dance, knock off HP Ice. I don't have special attack investment because I don't really need it. I'm going to be using this as a pivot. I outspeed Landorus. This is a leftovers number for my HP number, and then I put the rest in defense to take on Weavile's knockoff a little bit better. Like I said, I don't really care about Life or Weavile. I care about Banded. And if he's Banded, he's going to click knockoff. And I have a couple Pokemon that can take a knockoff on my team. My Dark Resist is Zoroark, obviously, and that is not a good Dark Resist. It gets 2-hit KO'd. So yeah, Zoroark's not a good switch in. So Weavile is the #1 threat, but I can play around that pretty well because I do have a Volcanion and Fortress. So Volt Switch is very good. I have knockoff. Knockoff deals very well with this team. I can knock off a Volcanion Berry from the Keldeo and Volt Switch out. I really want to deal more damage with Volt Switch than knockoff, so obviously knockoff first into Volt Switch is better than just Volt Switch because it's not Thunderbolt. I can't stay in against Keldeo, so I gotta switch out. So knockoff into Volt Switch is better, and Icy Wind doesn't really do too much damage to me just because I have this HP, very solid HP number. Yeah, and then HP Ice just for the guy. Zoroark, Flamethrower, knockoff, U-turn, Sucker Punch. This is very solid. I feel like this is gonna put in a lot of work just because of how many mind games I can play with it. With the first 3 moves that it gets, I can disguise it as Thundurus or my Volcanion. Volcanion gets Flamethrower and Thundurus gets both knockoff and U-turn. I used knockoff and U-turn last time with my Thundurus, so we could definitely think that it is still Thundurus. Flamethrower deals a lot of damage to the Venusaur in the sun, even with a Jolly nature. I could go hasty, but I don't know. There might be a time where I need to take a hit, like if I take a Rap Spin with Fortress or something, and I might need, and my Sash is broken, I might need to take a U-turn from Lander or something like that. So yeah, Sucker Punch, knockoff plus Sucker Punch means that I don't really lose anything if my Focus Sash is intact, and then I also have U-turn as a pivot, so he doesn't really know what Pokemon it is. Fortress, I don't have max speed this time, but I do have a lot of HP and defense. I put a little bit less speed on it, so that I could take Weavel's knockoff a bit better. With a spread, Bandit knockoff does not 2-way kill me, and I'll be able to fire back a nice juicy Volt Switch on it, which is, you know, whatever. With a little bit of damage with the Rock Helmet and stuff, I'll be able to chip out of the way. And he might not even be Bandit, so whatever. I don't remember what I was talking about last time, but yeah, they couldn't take 2 knockoffs. Stealth Rock is good. This is walled by Flygon and Landers, but that's fine because I don't. As soon as I remove my moveset, I'm probably going to double switch every time with the Fortress anyway. Yeah, max speed, outspeeds, a slow Metagross, and a slow Marowak. So I felt like I had to do this just because of that. Steam Eruption, Sludge Bomb, Flamethrower, Sleep Talk. Sleep Talk is for the Venusaur because that's Sleep Powder. So I have minus max special attack, 100 in speed. This outspeeds max speed Fortress by 2 points. So if he wants to just speed creep my Volcanion with his Metagross, he'll be gravely mistaken because I outspeed that by 1 point. And then I put max defense so that I can take Weavel's knockoff a bit better. There's a common theme here, and that is to take on Weavel's knockoff because Weavel's is a broken Pokemon, and I cannot beat that Pokemon. And even if I accommodate everything on my team to beat the Weavile, there is still a possibility that I can still lose to it because Weavile is just that broken. It's just like the Greninja that I couldn't beat. Obviously, because I lost the Alamola, I cannot take on the Weavile anymore. But whatever. What can I do, man? What can I do? Pretty standard stat, Flamethrower, Sludge Bomb. He doesn't have Fire Resist, he doesn't have Water Resist. And Pokemon that resist both are going to get poisoned by Sludge Bomb. The Sludge Bomb is still pretty powerful. Then I have the Kyurem, Fusion Bolt, Ice Beam, Roost, Shadow Ball. I decided to go Shadow Ball over Earth Power, even though Earth Power is slightly stronger. Allows me to not have to predict against the Marowak versus Lando like I did last time. And Shadow Ball still hits the Marowak for Noko, and it doesn't hit the Metagross for Noko, but neither does Earth Power. But having extra damage on the Metagross would have been nice, but it's whatever. I assume Shadow Ball hits the entire team neutral, and then I have Fusion Bolt for his Water Pokemon, which Shadow Ball doesn't really do too much damage to. I'll speed, max speed, modest Venusaur, max HP, and then I put the rest in special attack. Then I have the Decidueye Wanchitong. Hopefully this is going to allow me to use this on Wi-Fi, otherwise I'm going to be mad. I have Roost, U-turn, Leaf Blade, Defog. I have 2 Defog users so that Zoroark Sash remains intact, so that Zoroark can actually win me the game or prevent me from losing the game, because that'd be great. Careful Nature, because I want to be able to take hits from Keldeo, and then with this HP and defense, I'll be able to live a Banded knockoff from a Weavile with Rocks Up and be able to defog or U-turn accordingly. So that's going to be my team. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I have to play him now. Peace.